Hello friends, and welcome to my review of the 100 amp hour 1250 watt hour. This is a bad sticker. It's not correct. So we are reviewing the 100 watt Bate Lithium deep cycle battery pack. Alright, so let me tell you a story. I once bought a battery pack. It was 200 amp hours. I was working on it, and I dropped one terminal wire, the positive onto the negative, and then smoke came out, and I didn't like it very much. But you know, there was no fire or anything. But at that point, I was like, okay, I gotta be careful with these batteries. So guys, wear protective eye goggles and stuff when you're working with batteries, and then also another thing, if you're working with batteries, you might want one that has a power switch. Where's that power switch? It's right here. So if you see this battery monitor went off. Why did it go off? It's because these terminals, they power off on this battery pack. All right, from that experienced situation, I decided that, you know, if I'm going to have a battery pack around in my house, I don't want it to burn it down. I prefer to have a safe, healthy, positive home. And that's why I went on a search all over Amazon to try to figure out how to get a safe battery. Probably this is the safest mode. What you're going to find with most battery packs is that they have exposed terminals. This one is kind of cool because it has these terminals and these terminal covers. And a power switch. Ta-da! Also, what's cool about this battery pack is that underneath it all, you see over here, you have a 12-volt cigarette plug. And you have a USB interface, and you have a power meter over here. So that's one of those things that I noticed that not every battery has, is all those wonderful quality of life improvements that you have. Okay, so metal case, carry handles. What's the situation with this bad boy? This bad boy is a bit heavy. It's probably 40 to 45 pounds for 100 amp hours. Let's put it into context that other 100 amp hour battery packs could be as low as 20 to 25 pounds. So it's a bit heavier. Also, what I read on their questions answered part is that these use a BYD cells. BYD is some sort of electric car manufacturer in China. The chemistry LiefPo4 I feel safe with because if you watch on YouTube, the only way that these actually catch fire is that if you puncture them. But metal case, fire safety reasons also, metal case. Best you could do is if you short it out, probably smoke will come out of it. There is obviously a BMS. These guys got to get their sticker game in check. But it's 100 amp hour to 150 watt. So, pretty damn heavy. It depends on where you're going to use it. The way that I see it, so I'm going to explain to you the way I use it because, you know, I explained in the previous video, but what I did over here was I got these automated fuses, 10 AWG cable, automated fuses with 40 amp breaker stuff. So the idea like this is that I didn't want to screw things onto the terminal. That's too permanent. That's too inconvenient. I want something kind of like a USB-C port or a standard other barrel plug that I could use normally and easily. And I figured that I could do it like this. I created 6 of these wires, so that took that on the positive and just standard black cables over here on this side. And I connected this echo-worthy battery monitor. So what's cool about this is that you don't need what's called a shunt. A shunt is an extra metal terminal that goes usually in the negative port, and you have to have a whole metal thing where you connect all the wires through, so it measures the difference of stuff traveling through it. But this one is kind of cool because this one is non-invasive. It just goes on a positive terminal, and it can measure the amps going in and out. And this cable is very long, probably 10 feet at least. And I put this white tape around it because there's 3 wires inside. 1 wire goes to this guy, 1 wire goes in the negative terminal, and 1 positive maybe? Something like that. I don't remember. Maybe 1 to this, 1. But anyways, maybe 2 wires. Long story short, I use this battery like this. I connect USB-C devices to it. I use the Anderson plug. And having a regular 12-volt power supply, it's kind of like being able to use all those car accessories that people have, such as USB-C car charger, and things like this. Let's see. Like, for example, like one of these. You could plug it in directly, or you could plug it into one of these ports. And what's cool about these ports is that you can't mess them up. If I try to put it in the other polarity, it just won't stick in. It only works one way. Positive, positive, negative to negative. So, here's my conclusion. If I want to, let's say, charge it up, I could use one of these Bateria power battery packs. First, you connect it to this guy. I changed the terminal to be able to use this. So I could take this battery pack outside, connect multiples of these and multiple panels, and charge this very quickly. That's what the thing I found with solar generators is, that a lot of them charge incredibly slow. Or the ones that do charge fast from the wall. I have, for example, the Oukitel P2001, which can charge up to 1200 watts from the wall. But their solar input is only maximum 500 watts. But this one, you could technically get up to 1000 watts or maybe even 1250 watts input. How would you do that? Well, you would connect multiple MPPT charge controllers and multiple solar panels. This one, for example, can do about 125 watts input into the thing. So 125 watts, if you have 6 of them, you have what? 750 watts? You can come in right into this guy. So you have a whole bunch of solar panels. You could connect multiple solar panels to it, and you're not limited by the one port that those solar generators usually do have. So the Oukitel, for example, has a 500 watt. The best ones I've seen, like the Anchor 767, can do up to 1000 watt input with higher voltage solar panels. But one of those things with the higher voltages is why... Look, 100 watt solar panels and 200 watt solar panels are probably the cheapest ones you could buy. My idea was this, is that if I use between 100 and 200 watt solar panel and I plug in multiples of this, I could get a higher charge rate to this unit. Also, what's cool about it is that if I'm not using it for, let's say, emergency purposes, I could plug in this charge unit into here. And the other end, I can take Dell laptop power bricks, 240 watt power bricks, and have 125 watts coming in all the time and have it kind of like a UPS. What does it mean? Well, for example, if I have my Mac Pro connected to this 100-watt port over here, 100 watts, connect the Mac Pro to that, and so basically this will keep supplying the Mac Pro with 100 watts of energy at the right voltage because of the power delivery. So while the power is coming in, it's going to be charging directly. The electricity will be coming from the power brick or the solar panel, whatever the power source. But then if this is cut off, then it will continue being powered by the battery pack. So then I can continue using my Mac Pro. I can connect there's plenty of USB power lights. And also, what you're going to find is that they make a lot of stuff for RVs, which are 12 volts. You just search 12 volts and you can find 101 million things. But why I like 12 volts is that it's the standard system that you have in cars. A lot of people already figured out the car thing. And for example, heated blankets. Heated blankets, they have for cars that take about 60 watts, 5 amps, and that plug in right into the cigarette port. So even if you don't have this wiring, you plug it into the cigarette port and have a heating blanket for like 20 hours powered by this bad boy. And that could be recharged from a solar battery bank. I think that's very convenient. I personally believe that we should all be thinking about off-grid energy, even when we live in the city. Okay, so let's say there's a power outage. Most people can't even charge their cell phone. Yeah, they might have a battery bank. They might charge their cell phone. But this could power a freaking laptop. You could plug in also into the 12 volts. A lot of devices could be run directly from it. You just plug in an adapter from this one, let's say to the 12 volt 5521 barrel plug, which a lot of devices have. How do you find out what voltage your device uses? That's a good question. You could look at the little AC power adapter that gets plugged into the wall, and it's going to say what voltage it is. So to put it to you the correct way is that most of our electronic devices, unless it's a window fan, ceiling fan, certain lighting, fridge, can use DC power. And those little AC power bricks actually convert AC power to DC power. AC is 110 volts to 120 volts at 60 hertz. And this is 12 volts. So technically you're doing a lot of converting back and forth just to charge a laptop. So I've seen this low. I just checked this out. This unit might be about $300 on Amazon right now. So why did I buy it? Metal case. So I don't have any fear that this is going to burn up because metal does not burn. I like these terminal covers. This is really cool. Children, pets, they can't lick it. You can't put you can't make smoke come out. Things like this. What else do I like? I like the power meter. I like the switch. These are all things I have not seen on other battery packs that are available on Amazon. Safety to me was paramount. Ever since making that one time, the shorting on that battery pack, the other battery pack, I didn't want to repeat the experience, so I wound up finding this one. Previously, I reviewed a battery pack that's 150 amp hours Cloudenergy. That one does also have a switch, but you can't turn off these terminal ports. So you have to be careful working with it. So guys, practice safety when you're doing battery things. Get, those electric voltmeters that measure voltages and wattages, and make sure you have the correct polarity. Make sure you don't put the plus to the minus, and practice safety. So what I like about the way that I have it set up right now is that I can easily connect it and disconnect it. So I want to power a laptop. I just plug this bad boy in. This is PowerWorks with a WERX PowerWorks. This just plugs right into here, and I can just plug it in. I want to charge it. I plug it in here. So these become a universal port for charging and discharging at the same time. So if I want to charge it, I plug it into here. And I could also have a laptop connected on the other end. And so I could have a solar panel connected from here, power brick, anything that I want. And because I have a fuse here, if any of these, if I connect something that shorts, the fuse is going to blow, just like on a car. It's not going to hurt the battery, which is really important. This thing is really cool, the eco-worthy battery monitor. You could see the outflow and inflow into the battery pack. So, like, for example, if you're using it and you're using 100 watts, it's going to show up to be minus 100 watts. If you're adding 100 watts, so it's going to say 100 watts being added and the amounts of amps. This I had to set up myself. This cable is pretty long. What don't I like about it? Well, it's heavy. But what more can you ask if you want a metal casing? If you want this power switch, this power switch is a little bit mushy, but I like that it's shielded and you can't get, it's kind of covered by plastic, so you can't really get much dust in it. So it's rugged. So I like the idea for transport. Let's say I want to power off all devices to it. I want to put it away and nothing, like, let's say, worried about, not to worry about the terminals or anything connected. I could turn it off. I love that. This is the only battery pack that I found that is a reasonable price that can do that. So that's really cool. I like having a cigarette plug. That's really cool. There's a USB port, so power USB stuff. That's really, there's just a lot of positives, and the biggest is the heaviness. The BYD is a brand in China. Their electric cars seem to be, if you look up on YouTube, sometimes they don't function as correctly as they should, perhaps. But at the same time, if it's a LiefPo battery, I feel completely safe with that. I mean, those don't like burn or do other things. I mean, look up at regular lithium batteries for like scooters and stuff. They look a little bit, but this stuff, I look up the LiefPo battery. People pierce them. I mean, they off gas a little bit, smoke. I don't believe they even catch any like kind of like reaction. Regular LiefPo can go brrr, but also this is a metal, so unless you pierce it, nothing can happen to it. I also like that it's metal. So to me, the metal part is really important. I would probably choose Cloudenergy over this, because the Cloudenergy battery pack is probably up to here and is 50 amp hours more than this one. But then at the same time, if you don't care about the space and you like the power switch, which I like too, then you could get this one. So it's a win-win situation. But look, the idea is to be prepared. The idea is to be an enthusiast of electronics. And look, guys, look at the dream that you could have. Literally, you could have a cheap battery bank, $289. A couple 100-watt solar panels for $500. You have a $500 plus, let's say, a couple solar charge controllers, another $40 each. So $600. You have a complete solar system that could charge your laptop, give you electrical lighting, and you could watch it charge. Okay, there's another $40, $650, $700. But look, and this has, because it's LiefPo4, over 2,000, 2,500, 3,000 charge cycles before it hits to 80% of usable capacity. So I see a lot of benefits to this. Being prepared and being off grid. Look, the power grid, I believe it's completely outdated. We're paying crazy billions of dollars for them to have some sort of spinning things that keep breaking Meanwhile, a couple solar panels, because they don't spin, they could probably last forever. For some reason, they replace them every 10, 20 years, but that's some sort of, sounds like a government credit scheme. So $600-700, power your laptop. And the most important, guys, is this, is if you plug in your communications modem, your cable modem, or your, internet modem into a battery bank, for example, technically in a power outage, I think it should work. I had a cable person, the cable internet provider person, tell me that they stretched the wire all the way from their car's 12-volt battery bank to their cable modem to make their internet work when we had a Hurricane Sandy like 10 years ago. So that's a lot to think about. But I really like this idea. If I lived outside the city especially, I would love to have this. But, if I decided to move out there, I would just take this battery bank, throw it in my car, and enjoy it. And I know I have the electricity to power most of my electronics. If I want to do a cook stove, I would get a more powerful, kind of like an Oukitel P2001, or there's a Bate, F-O-S-I Bate, that has a similar one, but I think it could do up to 2,400 watts. And just the electrical dream, solar energy is right there. It's possible, but people are not thinking about it enough, and it's simpler than you think. Just think about it like this. Take one of this. You connect it to the battery bank. Connect it. Connect the solar panel on this other end, and you're done. And then you have this guy connected to here, either through that port or through another one. You connect some lights to it, and then you have a complete solar power system. And then you don't have to keep paying hundreds of dollars to these guys. Okay, fine. You can't run an air conditioner off it. But do you run the air conditioner anytime past the summer? I personally don't. Summertime, yeah, maybe I could turn it on once or twice. But I personally prefer window fans and ceiling fans. I think those work really great, and you can power this guy off that too. But for that, just get a solar generator. I just wanted the ability to not be limited by the solar generator inputs and have multiple power inputs to this. Because the idea is that you connect multiples of, you don't have to just connect this one. I just like this because it's small. Multiple solar panels, 5, 6, 10, 12 a kilowatt of energy. I could probably charge this up. It depends on how many solar panels I can connect. But 125, 6 solar panels, 700 watts coming in. That's kind of nice. And then there's also no noise. Solar generators, they have fans to cool them down. That's just the way they are. This one doesn't need any fans. It just plugs in. This thing gets hot, but, not to burn up or anything. Electricity, when things go through wires, there's a wire resistance, and things get hot. Like computers get hot sometimes, your phone gets hot charging, and things like this. But overall, this Bate Lithium is pretty decent. I mean, it works well. To power your laptop off it. If we all got, a 12-volt battery bank and a couple solar panels, I think a lot of the stuff that we do, we really don't need that much power. I mean, laptops take forever. If you're watching this on an iPad, that takes even less power. I mean, literally 2-3 power panels. These guys. Also, guys, I switched over to battery packs, and my electric bill went down by half. I don't know how this works, but perhaps maybe I made everything efficient. And perhaps maybe they're charging us more for the electricity than we were actually using. We're using the smart meters and things like this. I can't prove it 100%, but I got a feeling that if we actually counted all the energy that we use in our home, that we might find out that the electric company is actually charging us for more electricity than we're actually using, and that perhaps if we had backup power supplies and things like this and turn off our electricity half the time, we would find out that we actually used a lot less electricity than we actually thought. You might find that out too, and it's kind of nice to be free. Think about it. What do we really need? We need power for electrical power, a roof over our head, we need some food, and we need clean water. Food, power, water, home. In the end, if you think about it off-grid, you could have all that. I mean, bring some food, buy some mac and cheese, buy some canned beans, have some chickens. That's definitely a dream. Enjoy the great outdoors. Connect battery packs. Have chickens, have dogs, have a nice big family. And I hope you guys can, appreciate that. And, the people watching it would appreciate it. And I hope you could enjoy your day and just dream big, guys. I mean, you deserve it all. We got to have all these solutions. All this stuff like I'm standing in lines, all the centralized systems. The reality of the world is decentralization works. Just take a look at the Dark Ages. I mean, people lived in freaking castles, and the castle protected the people, and then they had the farming thing, and then they had chickens, and they lived, and then they danced, and ate good food. Everything was organic. The food was clean. The water was clean. Just something to think about. Anyways, that ends the review of the Bate Lithium 100 amp hour, 1250 watt hour, 12.8 volt LiefPo battery. All right, friends, thumb it up, and I'll see you in the next one.